So many would say that oil and gas doesn't have a role in the future low carbon economy. How do you see the future for oil and gas?
Okay, so in all of the forward forecasts for demand, particularly for energy, but even for raw feedstock, you're going to require oil and gas well past 2050. Even in the most pessimistic, from the oil and gas perspective, forecasts, and in the most optimistic ones, for us really moving towards a low carbon economy, you require oil and gas. So if you accept that they have to be part of the package, I think you then have to start really focusing on how do they become part of a balanced energy mix. So it's not an either or, it's oil and gas, it's renewables, wind, tidal, it's nuclear. It's all of us together providing security of supply for the UK at the most cost-effective method we can.
The oil and gas industry has been used to changing and transforming itself over the years. How big a transformation is this move into a low-carbon future?
I think it is a pretty dramatic move for the oil and gas industry because to a great extent we're talking about decarbonising a carbon industry. So while we want to deliver hydrocarbons, we want to deliver those hydrocarbons with the lowest carbon footprint that we can. That's a bit of a mind bend really for a lot of people that have been maybe 20 or 30 years in a hydrocarbon industry. So I think it is a big change for us, but it's also a big opportunity. As we look forward, we're looking at a different and more diverse group of people who'll be working for us. We'll be looking at different skills. We're going to be more digitised. We're going to be more remote operations and automated. So I think we can combine that drive towards a low carbon delivery with jobs and skills that are more interesting for the next generation.
And what kind of technologies and what type of innovations are going to come forward to facilitate and enable this switch in the industry, this transition?
Yeah, I think what's great is that actually a number of the technologies are going to be technologies that really suit heavy industry. It's not going to be bespoke or specially for the oil and gas industry. This is really around major industries moving towards a low carbon footprint. So how do we minimise our emissions? How do we deliver any of our products with the lowest carbon footprint possible? That's logistics, that's, generation, power generation. It's common challenges to many industries. So I think the technologies, while we may develop and deploy them in our area, we can actually learn from each other. We can learn from nuclear, we can learn from renewables, we can learn from the manufacturing industries that handle automotive and aeronautical. So that's quite an exciting place to be. It's one of the areas that I hope as a result we'll move more towards energy engineers, energy scientists, data analysts, or even just heavy industry engineers and scientists. So I think the world that we're really painting is a pretty exciting and interesting one.
So Vision 2035 sets out quite an ambitious goal for the industry, both in terms of oil and gas production, additional barrels, but also a big opportunity for the supply chain and the service sector. How will that develop through this transition towards a low carbon economy? And what opportunities are there for technology firms and service companies?
So Vision 2035 sets out a goal that is really adding potentially up to £1 trillion in value to the UK economy. That comes partly from, securing or delivering 10 to 20 billion barrels of additional volume from the North Sea. And it also, the technologies and skills and supply chain that we develop to deliver that, we enable a huge export market as well, because we're on the cusp for many countries. We're an older basin, so we have a late life management process that we can develop and become experts in. We have a decommissioning element, but the reality is that decommissioning isn't about the end of our basin. It's part of business as usual in our basin. It's just that our basin is so old. So we're going to have to decommission facilities that were put there in the 60s and 70s, while still building facilities in the noughties and the 2020s. And that's also quite interesting. And if we can do it right, and if we can develop those next generation of facilities with a low carbon footprint, but with recyclable, reusable, low cost, that's something we can export to all of the other markets who are going to go through exactly the same cycle that we're currently experiencing.
Thank you very much.